Hello, our friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family.
Hello there, welcome back, and thank goodness, look who's riding to the rescue.
On a bear.
On a bear.
Bare-chested, coming to the rescue.
LOL, that's good.
It's good stuff, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, what we're going to do is we're going to give you two messages. They're relatively short, but they came through in channeling from Sophia. And Sophia, for those that may be aware, is the goddess of wisdom. It's actually one and the same as Shakti out of the Vedic tradition. And so we have two messages, actually, that we're going to share with you. But first, an update on the situation over at the Ambassador Bridge. And the police did arrest several truckers in a dawn raid after thousands flocked to the demonstration in Ottawa.
I know people are coming together in ways that are just spectacular and miraculous, and I'm happy about that.
You know, they might have, as you see here, at least two arrests. The blockade is down, it appears.
So your first arrest here.
But this is not the end, not by any means. In fact, this cannot be stopped, and that's the bottom line. It won't be stopped. They could put out a fire in one spot, but more fires are going to be popping up.
Right. It's like trying to stop a plant from growing. It's just not going to be stopped.
And the reason is because consciousness is expanding. And humanity has been sleepwalking, so to speak, just sleepwalking through the last 5,000 years, basically.
Yeah, and unfortunately so, but we are waking up.
Absolutely. We could see. And this is areas that now are having the same thing popping up. This is what we're talking about. You're not going to be able to stop this. The powers that be, they're going to try all they can, but their time is limited. And consciousness is expanding, and they're up against a battle that they cannot win. Can they make it painful? Yeah, they could do their best. They could draw it out as much as possible, but it's inevitable.
Right, because life always finds a way. It is completely unstoppable. It's just, what is it going to look like in the upcoming months and years is all.
Well, I guess it's going to depend on each year as we transverse this. So we've talked before about the different yugas. Yugas are ages, they're periods, as you see. There's the golden age, the Satya Yuga, which thankfully is the biggest age. And then you have the silver, which is the next biggest. The Dwapara is the bronze, and the silver is called the Treta, by the way. And then we have the Kali, the Iron Age, the Dark Age. This is what we're in. Actually, we are actually putting our feet out of this right now as we speak. But this is the age in which the controllers reign. Mm-hmm. Only this age. And this is all related to where are we. It's all about where we are when we are going through our cycle. So our sun goes in its own motion throughout our galaxy and circles the central sun. So when we're farthest away from the central sun, that's when the Kali Yuga comes in. And this is also an area where there's been some destruction and some very, very dark events with very, very dark beings. When we get into this area, it's basically like the light is faint and the darkness can become pretty strong in this time period. But we're already transversing our way back towards the central sun, and we will be going into the next stage, thankfully the Bronze Age, and slowly be making our way back towards the light. And so all is going to be revealed, as this is the big apocalypse, the big unveiling. And the good news is it's only going to get better. The bad news is the desperate ones are going to try to do everything they can to make their time on the top last as long as possible, but it's inevitable. They're already starting to, their whole matrix is starting to crack, and then it's going to crumble around them. You can also look at this as a sine wave. And, also we could kind of look at it as that spiral of DNA when we think about it too. But it's like a sine wave. And so we were on the descent before. And hey, if you want to talk about quote unquote fallen angels, you have to recognize again, who is giving you this information? The controllers, obviously. They twist and distort everything. So the most twisted, distorted points of view are going to be the ones that are most commonly held. They're going to be the ones that are the controllers' views. And so we've been down through the dregs of hell, so to speak, and we're coming out of it. And this, again, is inevitable. You're not going to be able to stop it. They're not going to be able to stop it. There's kind of these transitional periods between ages, and I didn't write this, so, we're not in exact agreement. However, it is interesting because, the end of the dark age, this person is thinking at 2025. Boy, that's a number that keeps coming up in a lot of forecasts, like DEAGEL. Again, this is a battle for souls. They want to keep as many people with them. They want to get people to voluntarily say, hey, they want to hang around with these dark controllers. These are not fun people. These are not good guys. These beings don't have your best interest in mind. They're self-centered, selfish. Everything about them is, perverted, distorted, corrupt.
Right. And, I think part of our job, too, is to shine light in the darkness so that people have a better understanding of in what areas are you being controlled. Because until we recognize something for what it is, we can't really let it go.
Absolutely. So the message, again, that we're going to be giving you is from Sophia. And Sophia is thought to be, in the Greek tradition, the goddess of wisdom. And really what it is a representation of the Divine Mother. When you look at the Vedic point of view of how things work, and I'm going to give you these, and again, we're not in perfect alignment with all these numbers that people are throwing out, although there is definitely some good accuracy in these numbers, as the dark Kali Yuga basically starts with Krishna moving from our physical being. About 3102 is what's given traditionally, which is like 5,000 years ago. That's when we basically start stepping into the dark age. And as you see this quote, Krishna also said that after about 5,000 years, there will come a many thousand-year period of time that will be fabulous. And so again, the dark age is the shortest age, thankfully, in this cycle. And again, it's a spiral. Think of a spiral. We look at the galaxy is a spiral. And so things are not really linear. It's always changing, even though certain cycles will repeat.
Right. Cycles upon cycles upon cycles. And we just have to figure out which one we're in. And it's really hard to figure out sometimes when you're kind of in total darkness, but we're getting there.
Yes. When we see the iconography of Sophia, and not just Sophia, we'll see her represented in some ways, and we can see it again reflected in Mary and in Yeshua, or Christ. And again, we see that reflected in Isis and Horus. It's the Divine Mother that we're talking about, this energy of love, compassion, caring, understanding. Faith, hope, and charity, and Saint Sophia here. This is from the Eastern Orthodox Church. Actually, this one is actually up in Kiev, and that's in the Ukraine, which is obviously an area that the whole world is focused on right now. Well, what is this wisdom? Ultimately, the wisdom is love.
It is, and it's very powerful, and it's very penetrating to the soul.
In our modern tradition, our Abrahamic tradition, everything is just basically male, patriarchal, dominant. Our Father who are in heaven, and there's always this undercurrent, like you see in the Catholic Church and in the Eastern Orthodox Church. You see Sophia in the Eastern Orthodox, you also see Mary, and there's that feeling that something is miss. There's like a whole aspect that is missing. In Hinduism, she is known as Shakti. And though there are many goddesses out there, countless goddesses, and, what are these beings? Well, we call them devas. And devas just basically means a being of a higher order. And yet there are beings in the Devic kingdom, the natural kingdom, that include beings like just nature elementals. And their job might be just basically tending to a flower, tending to a tree, and we can interact with them. And when we were out meditating the other day, I could hear a being coming up to me, and we could actually see leaves moving, and then there's nothing there. Move it all away, expecting to see a bug or a mouse or something, there's nothing there. Well, there is something there, but it's just not in the visible spectrum.
Right. It's just our visible spectrum is so small compared to all the information and light that's out there. But yeah, those leaves were like they were being pushed up. I thought there was a frog something, but nothing.
Absolutely. So the Shakti energy is the energy of creation itself. It's the energy that is used to create everything that we see. It's that which the divine matrix is held in place. And it's not evil. There are forms of Gnosticism that view the material world as corrupt. Well, these philosophies came out during the Kali Yuga. So during the Kali Yuga, everything looks corrupt, but it's not the natural order of things.
No, it's not. Definitely not.
So it's coming to that understanding. There's a connection between source, and source is in some ways unknowable, but ultimately source is love, and source manifests itself in all sorts of different forms. And really we could break it down into the manifest universe as really, yin and yang. Again, we go back to the Tao and Taoism, that sign that shows the light and the dark, but yet there's darkness in the light and light in the dark. It's a balance. It's divine feminine, divine masculine. There is no balance in a Kali Yuga between these energies. The divine feminine is totally put down.
Right, which is very, very unfortunate. But, this is why we have to make a conscious effort to pull that energy back into our lives.
And, the mother energy is all about love and nourishment and caring and compassion. And when we interact with any of these goddess energies, they are so full of this nurturing, loving compassion that's completely unconditional. It's overwhelming. Their energy is overwhelming, and it's so beautiful that it can create a sense of fearlessness in you, because when your heart is open and you're full of this beautiful energy, you don't fear losing the physical body. There's no fear. There's no worry. See, the systems that want to instill fear in you are systems of the controllers. Whereas when you interact with this divine feminine energy, it's all about comforting you and nurturing and nourishing you.
Right. And, if everyone could try to tap into that a little bit more, that's going to help bring us to a different time in this world. So, I don't know, it's just something that I hope people can embrace more.
And they will, because the time of the controllers' belief systems, too, is coming to an end. People are going to wake up and say, wow, they've been controlling us all along through fear of punishment. The whole thought that because at some point in the distant past, God created two beings, created one being, created the second out of the first. And just think about everything we see from their system is backwards, inside out, and distorted. So Eve is taken from Adam's rib, saying the male was created first and the female comes from the male. Well, we know it's always the mother that gives birth. The father puts the seed in there. And so that's the Shiva and Shakti. Whereas when we look at Shiva, it's made of the two words, which basically means that which is not. So when Cindy has remote viewed and tried to make contact with the true essence of Shiva, it feels very distant. Feels very, very distant and far away. It's not imminent. It's not like really close. Because again, you can equate that in some ways to the void, which is just basically pure consciousness without any sort of manifestation. It's just potential. But the potential is brought into creation through the divine feminine aspect.
Yes, it is. So these are things that we just need to adapt into our lives. And I don't think it's so hard to adapt this energy into our lives as it is getting around the systems that we find ourselves in that are controlling.
So it's through the Shakti that the Shiva becomes manifest. And this is what is basically shown in all those icons when we see the mothers holding little children, which are representing us and everything in the material universe. It's through that divine feminine component. And, also you can, and others have equated this energy with the Holy Spirit. Unconditional love. That's what it's all about. It's all about unconditional love. And it's just pure, nurturing, compassionate, wonderful bliss.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and if everyone can find even just a little bit of this energy in your life, it can create a whole lot of healing.
What we have gotten and experienced is there's nothing to fear on the other side. There's nothing to fear at all. There's no vengeful God. Again, even Buddha said that the only hells exist in the minds of those that believe in them. So if that is our belief system, and we have this inherent feeling of guilt or being unworthy, then that's going to sit with us. It's going to cause creation. And we can get lost on the other side for a time. It's cultivating the unconditional love inside that's going to lead us straight home.
It sure will. It's a beautiful thing.
So we're going to give you guys this message from Sophia.
Energy. My name. All that surrounds me. What makes my essence come through. Many may call me Sophia. I am that energy that nurtures you. I am that energy that loves you. I am that which you understand to be. Sophia, goddess of wisdom. These are mere labels that is placed upon my energy so that you might understand who I am in your life. Anytime you feel a desire to relieve the pain of others, this is me. I am what you would call love. I am what you would call mercy. I am that which is trying to surface once again on your planet. There have been many teachings to release the mother's energy, to disregard the mother's energy, but I am that energy inside of you. when you feel you need to love someone, when you feel you need to love something, I am this energy that comes forth in your heart. I do wish to ask that you call me forth in your personal life. I do hope that you have a desire to feel this energy moving directly through you, channeling through you to assist others in their difficult times. This planet is going through a very large transformation. They are going to bring man's laws to the forefront and disallow my energy to move through you. I am asking that you embrace my energy so that man's laws do not reign over your hearts. My desire to love, my desire to nurture, my desire to bring mercy runs through every human being on this planet. I do hope that you can find my energy and display it in all aspects of your life, for this is what will truly balance the energies and bring about comfort. I thank you for allowing me to speak directly to you. I am love. I am your oneness. I am all that brings loving, nurturing energy into your life. Do continue to channel me through your human essence, as this brings much needed relief to all the mothers that have entered your planet. It allows them to surface and work in your lives in ways that cannot be explained. I do thank you for allowing this energy to move through you today.
Thank you. Namaste.
Namaste.
So that was the message that we had from Sophia, and then Cindy still had a connection.
The grass, the earth, that in which we live upon is critical for the upcoming events. Anytime you use my earth medicine to sustain your life, I will be able to bring you great reward, I ask that many of you look to my medicine to help sustain you in the upcoming times. The energies we are facing are an effort to continue to utilize your essence for the good of your controllers. I wish to release you from them and allow you to return home. This is what I want for my children. This is what I want for all the living creatures, is to be allowed to utilize my love, my medicine, my energy to sustain your life. You will learn in the times ahead that my medicine can give you eternal life. But we all must make the effort to understand how Earth's medicine works through their body. There is much purging to do from that which the controllers have encased you in. I ask that you release the energy of the controllers. Allow yourself to be free in my arms. Allow yourself to be cradled in my heart. There is so much more I wish to give my children, as any mother or nurturer would, but I can only give it to you if you are willing to accept it and allow it to come into your life. Thank you.
Namaste.
Namaste.
So that was really difficult to contain that energy emotionally. Like when I feel an entity is so strong and there's so much love there, usually I just cry. So that was difficult to just kind of not break out in tears, but I could feel how she really wanted you guys to hear this message. And I'll give it back to Mike because I'm still emotional. Here you go.
And so, that energy again is the energy of pure love itself and loving compassion that comes unconditionally. There's no conditions attached. The conditions are things that the controllers put in there to distort everything. So again, humanity is waking up. The world will wake up. This is inevitable. They could push back as much as they want, but ultimately their system is crumbling. And the more love and light we can anchor into our heart and compassion, the quicker it'll happen. So we want to thank you guys for being part of this family. We're going to be doing, hopefully in the next day or two, we're going to try to get a couple more mantras that I feel are very important because they've been really helping to bring in balanced energies to both Cindy and I a lot. And we've been doing them out in the sun and getting the sun as much as possible on our skin to, again, give us the light. The light is the gnosis. It's the information. It's what's bringing about the DNA change. It's what's bringing about the end of this system. This is why they started plastering the skies all those years ago, trying to reflect the light back out into space. It's not about global warming or global cooling. No, it's about stopping this ascension process, which they cannot do. But they will try to maintain control for every second possible, and that's just who they are. But it's inevitable. Thank you guys for your support on Patreon and Ko-Fi. We couldn't do it without you. Check out Medicinal Foods as well. Link on top of every video. Much love. God bless and namaste.
Namaste.